Profit and loss. What is profit and what is loss? Now let's say I go to the market or supermarket today and I buy a coconut for 50 naira. As I'm walking out of the coconut, as I'm walking out of the supermarket, I meet a friend and he tells me that he likes the same coconut and he wants to buy it for 70 naira. Now the difference between the 70 and the 50 naira, which is 20 naira, is said to be a profit. So profit or gain is made when the selling price of an article is greater than the buying or cost price. The cost price is the original price I bought the article, which for the supermarket was 50 naira, and the selling price is the amount I sold the article, which for the example was 70 naira. Now the profit equals selling price minus the cost price. Now loss, the loss is said to be made when the selling price is lower than the cost price. Let's say I buy an article for 50 naira and I sell it for 30 naira. That means I incur the loss of 20 naira. Now let's go and let's take some examples. A book is bought for 2 naira and sold for 2 naira 50 kobo. What is the percentage gain? So I bought it for 2 naira and sold it for 2 naira 50 kobo. The gain will now be 2 naira 50 kobo, which is the selling price, minus the cost price 2 naira, which will give us 50 kobo. Now the percentage gain will now be 50 kobo times 100. Divided by the cost price. Okay, so we have 50 kobo all over the cost price, which is 2 naira, then times 100. So we'll convert both of them to kobo or both naira. So we'll have 50 kobo all over 2 naira will give us 200 kobo, then times 100. So 2 zeros will cancel 2 zeros, then 2 divided 50 and have 25. So our answer now becomes 25%. So 25% is our percentage gain. Now let's take another example. A hat is bought for 2 naira 50 kobo and sold for 2 naira 20 kobo. What is the loss percent? The cost price equals 2 naira 50 kobo and the selling price SP equals 2 naira 20 kobo. So since the selling price is lower than the cost price, now have it as a loss equals the difference between these two, which is 2 naira 50 kobo minus 2 naira 20 kobo, and that will give us 30 kobo. The percentage loss will now give us 30 kobo all over the cost price, which is 2 naira 50 kobo times 100. So we'll convert 2 naira 50 kobo to naira. I'll have 30 over 250 kobo. Mind you, 1 naira equals 100 kobo. So 250 kobo multiplied by 100, it gives us 250 kobo, then times 100. So this 0 will cancel this 0. 5 can divide 30, we have 6. 5 can divide 25, we have 5. 5 into this 1, 5 into this 2. 6 times 2 will now give us 12, which is 12%, and that is our percentage loss. Now let's look at another topic, and this topic is called interest. When I borrow a sum of money, that sum of money borrowed maybe from a bank is called the principal. Now after a specified period, the bank requires me to pay higher than the initial amount I borrowed. That difference, the difference between the amount I pay and the amount I borrowed, is called the interest. Okay? Now the time between the date I borrowed and the date I'm supposed to pay back, we'll call it time for interest, and the rate is defined as the percentage increase on the capital that I'm supposed to pay back. So most banks will give you at, let's say, 10% interest. That means you pay back 10% of the principal every year. Okay, so at this point, this is just a revision, and I want you to go back to chapter 2 and visit the chapter on simple interest. But before we leave, I wanted to remind us that interest equals principal times time times rates all over 100, and the units in percent. Now another variation of interest, this simple interest, is called the compound interest. Okay, now compound interest, this is the way it works. Let's say you borrow 100 naira, and after a year you're expected to pay 10 naira as the interest. Now that means the total amount you pay back at the end of that year will now be 110 naira. By that I mean the principal plus the interest. Now for the second year, the principal now becomes 110 naira, and it continues at that 10%. So that means at the end of that year, let's say your interest now becomes 11 naira. The principal for the next year now becomes 110 naira plus 11, which is 121 naira. That is how compound interest works. Now at this point, I want you to click on Start Quiz and answer the questions following.